good afternoon or good evening, whenever and wherever you're watching or listening. This is the Awesemo NHL DFS Strategy Show, and I'm your host, Michael Clifford, aka Slim Cliffy. Joining me for the next hour to talk about optimal Valentine's Day gifts, our single entry assassin, Mr. Joshua Harris. Josh, how you doing today, buddy?
Yeah, I just why I feel bad for people who aren't in a why is Valentine's Day the day after the Super Bowl? It's just miserable. How are you supposed to get the energy to celebrate Valentine's Day with your significant other after you're probably gonna win all this money on Super Bowl Sunday, and you just I don't know.
Luckily, see, that's the problem, right? Is you can't say you won a bunch of money on Super Bowl Sunday because then you have to spend that money on the Valentine's Day gifts. And I stand with a lot of Americans in saying that I still think the Monday after the Super Bowl should be a holiday. I know that will honestly never happen, but seriously, the productivity drain across the country the day after the Super Bowl runs into the tens of billions. So I think a lot of people just call in sick or whatever anyway. Do you got any big plans for the big game this weekend?
No, I'm probably not even going to watch it. I have a bet. I have a Super Bowl future on the Rams. Thanks, DK. They gave me a $300 bet. I had to place it on a team to win the Super Bowl back in September. I put it on the Rams, so that's nice. Probably not going to. I don't even have cable. So, I haven't watched TV in years. I have ESPN Plus, so I do watch some hockey. But yeah, I'll just follow, Twitter. Twitter likes to tell me what's going on in the Super Bowl. If there's any good commercials, got YouTube. So maybe I'll watch some, a nice movie or something. Maybe I'll rewatch a Quentin Tarantino movie, Inglourious Bastards or something on Sunday instead of watching the Super Bowl. But, not a huge football guy. I don't hockey guy, fighting guy.
I mean, I think you probably have to watch the halftime show this year. I know halftime shows can be hit or miss sometimes, but you have Dr. Dre, you have Eminem, you have Snoop Dogg, you have Mary J. Blige, and you have Kendrick Lamar all coming in to give a Super Bowl halftime show. I went to a convenience store this morning, and the guy at the counter, he knows I write about hockey. He doesn't watch sports. He's like, I'm watching the Super Bowl this year. And it's specifically because he wants to watch that halftime show. So I think at the least, if you're not excited for the game, you can get excited for the musical acts. I usually do the same thing for Super Bowl every year. Every once in a while, I'll go see some friends. But I mean, the last few years, it's been, kind of tough. Probably just do my normal routine, throw some KFC into my stomach and call it a night. But we are here to talk about hockey. We have two slates we have to get to today. We're going to talk about the early slate in a bit. Welcome everybody to the Awesemo Show. Thank you, Yahoo Fantasy, for being our sponsor. They have been our sponsor this year. They've been very, very good to us. So if you're new to DFS, or you just want to get your feet wet and not play against some sharks, or you just want some free money, first-time Yahoo users, we have a special giveaway for you guys. So we'll talk about that a little bit later in the show. Not as big a night in the chat last night as the night before for winners. As far as winners are concerned, I suppose you can't post Thursday nights like we had every night like we had on Thursday. I ended up cashing last night, which I'll take because I was telling you before the slate that I had a late swap lineup all set, and I did. It was Edmonton 1 plus Seattle 1, but it was McCann Eberle with Vince Dunn in my utility. And if Sonny Milano was in on that second line with Zegras and Raquel, I was just going to straight swap over to that Anaheim line, and I did. And yeah, Raquel scored, but Milano put up a 0, and both Vince Dunn and Jordan Eberle scored in that game. So it hurt me. I still cashed. We'll take it and we'll run. Vince Dunn, I think, getting onto that top power play unit for Seattle, I think that makes a big difference, not only for him, but for that offense. What do you think?
Yeah, he's definitely offensive upgrade for Mark Giordano at this point in his career. Also, I was on Edmonton 1. Did you see that sequence at the empty net?
No.
Yeah. I mean, Hyman should have scored 19 times with the empty net. So that was tilting.
That's probably the most tilting part of any hockey game. I guess number one is just watching your goalie in general, especially if he starts to get lit up. Number two is watching with the empty net, because you never get the goal when you need it, and you always get the goal when you don't. Like I know that's not the way it actually works out. It's just the way it seems in my head. So yeah, empty net situations can definitely be super tilting. Before we get too much further, if everybody in the chat could throw us a thumbs up, you guys have been pretty good about doing that so far today. Just click that like button. It'll help us a lot. Click the subscribe button, especially. The subscriptions really help grow this channel, keep these shows coming on a regular basis. Fingers crossed MLB is somewhat around the corner, so maybe we'll have some MLB shows coming up. I see Tyler shaking his head. I don't think so either. I think it's going to be a little while, but we got to keep some optimism here. So NBA and NHL, we've got those shows coming. NBA All-Star break is just around the corner. So we might have some NHL live before locks coming up, actually. So lots of NHL stuff going on over the next couple of weeks and the rest of the season. So click that subscribe button to keep up. Click the notification button so you get alerts whenever we do go live. Up on the site today, we have free premium tools and data. We usually do every day. Today is no exception. We have our NBA ownership rankings. We have our NHL top stacks and our UFC pro play. So if you hear us talk about top stack percentage, stack ownership, line ownership percentage, you can go check it out for yourself over at awesemo.com. Just go to our NHL top stacks. It is free up on the site for today. And we also have a Super Bowl giveaway. Just head on over to Twitter and check out our Awesemo_com handle. That's our main Twitter account. Check out the pinned tweet for the Super Bowl giveaway. All you have to do is reply whether you think Joe Burrow or Matthew Stafford will have more passing yards, and follow the instructions to be entered for a chance to win a free year of Awesemo Plus Platinum. It's a $1,000 value, and all it takes is a reply to a tweet. So just head on over to our Twitter, Awesemo_com, and just reply with Matthew Stafford or Joe Burrow for more passing yards. All right, Josh. We have an early slate we should talk about. It starts here in about 45 minutes or so. We're not going to take too long on this because the contests just aren't very big, and this is the only time this information will actually be useful to the people watching live. We have 3 games on the docket. We have Philly going into Detroit, Carter Hart against expected to be Alex Nedeljkovic. We have Boston going into Ottawa. We have the Bruins with starting Jeremy Swayman, Matt Murray for the Sens. We have Elvis Merzlikins starting for the Blue Jackets, and it looks like it's going to be Sam Montembeault for the Montreal Canadiens. All right, Josh, we got 3 games. We have at least 5 non-playoff teams out of the 6 playing here, so we got some bad teams lining up. How do you see this early slate breaking down?
Yeah, this might be one of the worst 3-game slates of all time. But I said yesterday that the 4-game slate was one of my favorite all time. It was absolutely terrible. So you don't really know how the slate's going to go until you get into it. I do like Detroit 1 again here. They'll go out. They might see some Giroux. They might, see a fair bit, but they also will see a fair bit of that depth of the Flyers. So Detroit 1 definitely in play. Detroit 2, my favorite line on the Wings. They're going to see, a pretty tough matchup in connecting Van Riemsdyk, but, it's a tough 5-on-5 matchup, but Flyers have issues on the blue line. They have issues in goal. So I think, both top 6 lines of the Wings are in play. Sorry. Talks. But on the flip side, I do like that Flyers top line getting that third line of Detroit. It's a break-even line for their shutdown line. If you're going to give me, Giroux, Atkinson, Lindblom, they're very expensive too. Like Atkinson's $7,100 on DraftKings. So I would imagine they may be a bit low owned. So I think, getting to some Flyers top line here definitely makes some sense. Moving to the next game here. Blue Jackets, Canadians, like, wow. Both top.
Like we could be looking at, and this is with all due respect to Arizona, this could be the 2 worst teams in the league at the moment. And that's really saying something when you look how bad Arizona was for the first 6 to 8 weeks of the season.
Yeah. I mean, Patrick Laine looked okay not missing a game with that wrist injury. So I definitely think both top lines are in play here. I side to Montreal's top line here. I do like the Columbus second line. Voracek, Sillinger, Bjorkstrand, they're going to, see depth of the Canadians, and that's just not I'm trying to be nice, not good. So I do like Columbus 2 here. I like Montreal 1. You want to play Columbus 1, I think that's fine, but my preferred line on the Columbus side is Columbus 2. Maybe Cole Caulfield moves up the lineup. We'll have to wait and see. I'm hoping he does. He's been priced. He's actually looked really good of late. I think, Marty St. Louis will actually be really good for him. Little boy goals with little boy coach.
Who better to coach Cole Caulfield than Marty St. Louis, right?
Yeah. So I think, a big beneficiary of Marty St. Louis will be Cole Caulfield. And I hope he moves up the line and gets some consistent ice time, but we'll wait and see on the lines there. And then Boston, Ottawa, just Boston's a mess. Ottawa's a mess. Life's a mess. But, without Bergeron, without Marchand, who's appealing his suspension, he doesn't think he should be out any games. Sure, buddy. I do like that top line fully correlated. Adam Gaudette, 2,800. He hasn't been shooting too much, but when he does, he's been scoring, which is nice. So I think you can go to Ottawa top line here. You want to go to that second line, getting DeBrusque, Coyle, Smith. I think, that's perfectly fine as well. Fermenton, Paul Brown. Don't really like their power play correlation, but, it's a pretty decent 5-on-5 matchup. On the flip side, I do like Hall Pasternak. I wish, Eric Hall saw some power play time. Or, Charlie Coyle was centering them for a full power play correlation. But, Hall Pasternak, I do like. That second line's okay just because they're cheap and they see, a couple of their guys see top power play minutes in DeBrusque and Coyle. I think power play stacking is fine on the Bruins side. But so Ottawa 1, maybe some Ottawa 2, Boston 1, Boston power play. So not a lot of great teams on the slate. The best team is Boston, and they're completely banged up right now. So a lot of options, a lot of uncomfortable options. Maybe that's good for MME, though.
Yeah, I was going to say that. Because of the nature of the slate, there's no line or team where I would say, don't play them or don't consider them or you can skip them or something like that, right? When you have a bunch of bad teams playing each other, it brings everybody into play. The one thing I will say, I brought this up the last time Detroit played. I'm not a big fan of the way the current top line is constructed with Zadina, Larkin, and Raymond. If you look at their playmaking data this year, Zadina, Larkin, and Raymond are all below average in shot assists. There's not a high-end playmaker on this line. Bertuzzi and Fabry are the playmakers, and they're both down on the second line. So, Philly's bad, and Larkin can easily fire a hat trick in here tonight. But I just don't like that specific combination of players. I don't know if the skills mesh well. I kind of like Detroit too. Better in this matchup, and they've been very good. 55% shot share, expected goal share, scoring chance share, 32 scoring chances per 60 minutes. So I do like Detroit too. Philly too has been pretty high event in their small sample, so maybe Detroit can get something done there. In Montreal, Columbus, Nick Suzuki played nearly 24 minutes in Montreal's first game. Martin St. Louis said they're going to lean on their veterans / high paid guys / guys at the top of the lineup. I think Suzuki is going to be one of those guys that could be playing 20 plus regularly moving forward. I guess we'll see, but 24 minutes in the first game is a good sign. So I do like that Montreal top line. We'll see what it looks like at warmups. That Montreal top line going into the Patrick Laine line. Yeah. If they're going to play 20 minutes against that Patrick Laine line, I really like that matchup. I don't mind some sort of Columbus power play stack. The Montreal penalty kill is still awful. I'm not sure if St. Louis will be able to fix that. So, Line 8 Voracek, 2-man, I think would be fine or something along those lines.
The best coach in the world couldn't fix that PK right now until they get some goalies and blue liners. So
it's true. And then Boston and Ottawa. But the Boston injuries, like I think the Ottawa top line is definitely in play here because Ottawa 2 will take the Boston top line, quote unquote, Hall and Pasternak. And then Ottawa 1 will get the second line. But with all of Boston's injuries, that's technically their third line. Like if everyone was healthy, it would be the Boston third line. So you get Ottawa 1 against a third line. I don't care what team's third line it is. I'll take chances on that. So Stützle and Tkachuk. So I like the Montreal and Ottawa top lines. I like the Detroit second line. I don't mind the Philly second line as well. Columbus power play if you really want to get spicy. I think that about wraps it up for the early slate. We'll drop some news if we get anything popping up. Is there anything else you want to add?
No, but real quick, since most of you guys are in here, I see 75 people. Yesterday on the show, we were going to give away 2 weekly memberships for NBA All-Star Break, and I said after the show, go leave a comment with your favorite moment from last season or this season, and contact information. Now, I saw at the end of yesterday's show, everyone was spamming their favorite moments in the live chat. If I was unclear, I meant in the comments section after the show ended. If you don't know where to find it, I have a link on my Twitter. Just go look for it. We had 13 comments in the comment section. Only one person included contact information. So if you want to be eligible to get a free week for NBA All-Star Break, go leave your favorite moment from last season or this season from the show in the comment section and leave a way for us to get in contact with you if you do win. So, if you want me to post a link, I will pin it to my Twitter. If you can't find it, I will pin it to my Twitter after the show. So go do that. Just make sure to leave a way for us to get in contact with you. Like we see you in the chat, but we don't know exactly how to get in contact with you if you don't leave it. So leave some contact. Thank you.
Yeah, just a nice little message there. Just make sure to drop a Twitter handle or your email address.
I got a big head. Like I cannot get my head into the screen.
Even Xander's laughing behind the boards. I'm not going to say anything about the size of your melon. Your melon
like Heed from So I Married an Axe Murderer. I actually watched that movie over the summer, man. That's such a classic. With Daytona right around the corner, we are offering our Awesemo Plus NASCAR package for less than $2 per cup race this season. That's $70 for a full year of Awesemo Plus NASCAR. This pass gives you access to our driver projections, our ownership projections, and our top drivers tool to give you the edge you need in NASCAR DFS. Use the promo code GREENFLAG, all capital letters, all one word, at checkout, or simply click the link in the description of this video to activate. This offer is valued through February 20th. That's next Sunday. So promo code GREENFLAG, all capital letters, all one word, for $70 for a full year of Awesemo Plus NASCAR. All right, we got to get to this late slate. Let's get to this first game. Winnipeg, 2.6 implied goal total. They're going into Nashville. The Nashville Predators have a 3.4 implied goal total. Winnipeg played last night. I was thinking about this. They might start Connor Hellebuck again. Like Winnipeg, they're like 9 points out of a playoff spot, but they have like 4 or 5 games up to make up on everybody. And Nashville is one of the teams that they're chasing. I don't know if they want to go, 1 point out of 4 against Dallas and Nashville when they need to win these games. I think Connor Hellebuck might be a sneak start here. Just watch out for that. But yeah, Winnipeg is on a back-to-back. Nashville is at home. I was dropping some stats to you about Nashville in our Discord earlier today. Why don't you talk about this Nashville and Winnipeg game? What do you think? Yeah, so since Forsberg, Granlund, Duchesne were together earlier this season, they had excellent numbers. Recently, I forget what it was. Was it like last 20 games, something like that?
Yeah, last 150 minutes from 50. It was like 59% expected goal share all the way down to 49% expected goal share.
Yeah, so they have not looked great recently. Don't know what it is. Could be Forsberg had a symptomatic case of COVID, and we listen, we don't like talking about it, but we've seen, these, like Ryan O'Reilly said he had a bad battle, and you can see in his offensive game, he just hasn't been the same. We don't know what it is. I don't like conjecturing, but Granlund hasn't been great recently. The problem is their prices have come way down, and they're getting a Winnipeg team on the back-to-back with an iffy penalty kill. It could be Comrie, but I do agree with you. I think they may start Hellebuck again. Despite losing last night, like, Hellebuck wasn't super busy. That Dallas game, man, Dallas, when they play bad, is just ugly hockey. But anyway, I do like Nashville top line here. And, well, I lost my train of thought. I do like the Nashville top line here. They're fully correlated on the power play. The prices have come down. We don't have ownership. We don't have our first ownership run yet. It's too early in the day. I'll be interested to see where they come in ownership, because they're 9-4 in the 15s to full stack, which is really cheap for them. They're getting a decent power play matchup. If Comrie starts, it's even better. He's a big drop off from Hellebuck, so I do think Nashville one's in play. On the flip side, we talk about these power play matchups. This is a very, very good Winnipeg power play matchup. Nashville has one of the worst penalty kills in the league since Ryan Ellis went to the Flyers in the offseason. That's a huge, huge loss for them. UC Saros bails them out as much as they can, but you saw it in the Dallas game when Dallas played Nashville. Like, UC did all he could, and they still scored on the power play. So I think doing some sort of Winnipeg power play is where I'd lean. I don't like 5-on-5 stacking Scheifele and Wheeler just because their numbers at 5-on-5 are so bad, but you can include them in power play stacking. Now, I'll be interested to see, because they did move Pierre-Luc Dubois up to that second line towards about halfway through the game, but they did move Cole Perfetti off that line and move Jansen Harkins up. That being said, like, whatever. What that impacts really is Kyle Connor. Kyle Connor with Pierre-Luc Dubois, so much better than he is with Andrew Kopp. So I think, if you want to do a power play stack, you do something like Pierre-Luc Dubois, Connor, Scheifele, Dubois, Connor, Pionk, something like that. I think including very expensive Kyle Connor, if Pierre-Luc Dubois is there, is something that I'd want to do. So power play stacking for me on Winnipeg side. Nashville one, if their ownership's in check. If they're coming in like way over leveraged, I probably will take a pass, just because their 5-on-5 numbers recently do have me worried. So Nashville one, Winnipeg power play.
I'm wondering what happens with the Winnipeg power play here, because Neil Pionk just returned in that game last night, and they only had one power play, and Josh Morrissey ran it. But the thing is Pionk and Schmidt had just come off the ice from a penalty kill, or a 4-on-4 situation. Sorry. So was it a situation where they didn't want to put Schmidt and Pionk out, for an extended shift, and they just put Morrissey out because they think they're interchangeable? Or is it that Morrissey is the top power play guy now? Like, I don't know quite how to read that. I think Morrissey is probably the guy you have to pick if you're going with the power play, just because he was on the power play last night, and we don't have a better answer right now. But it's just, I like, Pionk probably should be running it, but like, with the way they ran things last night, it very well could be Morrissey. I do have the Winnipeg power play in my power plays article up at Awesemo.com, free to read for anybody. Don't need to be a subscriber. Head to Awesemo.com. My power plays article will be up later today. And it's just talking about the Nashville penalty kill. Bottom 10 by expected goals against while on the PK, bottom 5 by shot attempts allowed, nearly the most time shorthanded. So the Winnipeg power play very much in play. On the Nashville side, like you said, it's been a tale of two halves for that top line. The first half, 60% shot share, 3.5 expected goals per 60 minutes. Since then, 53% shot share, 2.1 expected goals per 60 minutes. They've really fallen off. So, like, I'm not going to begrudge anybody for using Nashville 1 today. They're very much in play. We don't have our top stacks run just yet. I imagine they'll be fairly popular because they're not super expensive, and it is a short slate, and Winnipeg is a back-to-back. So I think Nashville 1, I think they're very much in play. On the blue line, I think my favorite play out of this whole game is honestly Roman Josi. I was looking at our Awesemo projections, and we have him for 3.3 more DraftKings points than the next closest defenseman. It's like 30% more points than the next closest defenseman on this slate. And there are some expensive defensemen. Zach Werenski, 7,200. Seth Jones, 6,900, and he's projecting for way more points than them. So I don't know, man. Roman Josi, straight up one of my favorite plays on this whole slate. I think Josh Morrissey makes some sense as long as he's running the power play. What do you think about defensemen?
Yeah, I agree with you on Josi. He's just like, if the Predators score a bunch of goals, he's going to be involved. If they're down, he's just going to start shooting the puck. So like, if they're winning, there's a good chance, at a points bonus. If they're losing, good shot at a combo meal. You know what I mean? So like, he has a very high floor and a high ceiling. So I agree. Like, I don't like Josh Morrissey, but if he is on the power play, I think you have to consider him just because the Predators have depending on the metric you look at, one of the top 3 worst penalty kills in the league. So he'll be involved. We won't get clarity on the power play unit. I don't mind Pionk as a one-off and hope he sees some power play time just because he is their best puck mover. And if they do score a 5-on-5, there's a good chance if he's on the ice, he will be involved.
Yep. And, not that much more expensive than Morrissey. They're basically interchangeable. Yep, I agree with that. All right, let's move along to this next game. Toronto, 3.5 implied goal total. They're going into Vancouver. Vancouver has a 2.5 implied goal total. That's a mistake on the screen on my part. So Toronto 3.5, Vancouver 2.5. Austin Matthews is in the Power Plays article up at Awesemo.com. I don't think it's a massive surprise. He scored in 21 out of 42 games this season. 21 out of 41 games. Sorry, that's over half his games. And he scored in over half his games last season. Like, there's a reason why he's priced where he is. That top line has been pretty good. On the Vancouver side, I think our lineup builder is showing some different lines. They just got updated. Never mind. So JT Miller, Bo Horvat, Brock Besser is the top line for Vancouver. The second line, Elias Pettersson with Vasily Podkolzin and Nils Hoglander on his wings. That tells me Miller, Horvat, Besser is going right into that Matthews matchup all game long. So what do you think about this one, Josh?
Yeah, I'm saving that Vancouver top line for another day. Because I feel like they're just going to be really popular in a not the best matchup. And they're 2C. But, they are fully correlated. Peter Mrazek is in that. I don't know. Like, Jack Campbell has not been great the past 10 games or whatever it was.
Yeah, I think they said Mrazek's going to be starting.
Yeah, which may actually be good for the Leafs. So, as much as I like this Vancouver top line, I think I'm going to save it for another slate and a better matchup. If you want to use them, just be aware, if you're an Awesemo member, check out the top stacks, just to make sure they're not like wildly over leveraged. But if you want to play them, I think it's okay. It's just not the best matchup. I really like how DraftKings is pricing up Matthews. It makes it, like you actually have to think about just not blindly throwing him in. And man, can we just talk about my son, Mitchell Marner, for a second?
Yeah, go ahead. Talk about him all you want.
Yeah. Like 10 shots on goal last game. I had a talk with him. I called him. I said, hey, Mitch, my man, you're making $11.5 million. Shoot the puck. Shoot first. Austin can clean it up, man. Try to stop setting him up. Just shoot. Austin will clean it up. And look what he's doing. They moved him into the better spot on the power play. He's been more involved. He's been more shoot first, and he's still reasonably priced. So I do really like Toronto 1 here. When Mitch Marner gets up into the 8Ks, that's when it gets a little iffy for him. But at 6,700 on DraftKings, I still think he's very viable with Matthews. And I also see that William Nylander is priced down under 6K now. So if you want a power play stack and add in Nylander, I think that's fine. You want to add in Tavares, do that. Don't mind that second line either. Tavares, Nylander, it's definitely cheaper than Matthews, Marner. I just really like the way Matthews and Marner have been playing together. So I lean towards Toronto 1 tonight, Toronto power play. And I do like Vancouver 1. I think in MME you can have some. I just, 1 to 3, I want to save them for a better matchup.
So the Vancouver penalty kill is kind of interesting to me because they're allowing a ton of shot attempts. Like I think they're 24th or 25th by shot attempts allowed on the penalty kill since Christmas, but they're not allowing very many shots or expected goals. Like it seems like they're forcing a lot of bad shots. Now, I wonder how that's going to work tonight because this Toronto power play is one of the best in the league. And if you allow them a lot of bad shots, thinking that they are bad shots, I think you might have a very bad time allowing Austin Matthews and Willie Nylander and John Tavares to fire from wherever they want. So I think there are two ways to go with Toronto here. It's either the Toronto top line, because that Toronto top line has just been absolutely absurd so far this year. I was talking about it in the Power Plays article. This top line's over 70 shot attempts per 60 minutes, over 42 scoring chances per 60 minutes. Like that's just absolutely insane. Anything over 30 I consider high. 42 is just bonkers. So I think full Toronto 1 is here. I think some sort of Toronto power play stack, as you mentioned, is just fine. Like I'm not sure. I don't know if the Vancouver penalty kill is smoke or mirrors or not right now, but I think the Toronto power play is good enough that to use it to try and find out. So I think both those are definitely in play here. On the Vancouver side, I agree with you. I'm going to wait to see the top stacks run because I could see this line, even though it's in a bad matchup, coming in at 13, 14%, because the top line is going to play 20 minutes and they're only, $13K, I think, as a trio on DraftKings. So, it is a double center, but they are very cheap. And you have a utility you can play with. So I think you might see some high ownership on Vancouver 1. Just watch the top stacks. As Josh mentioned, they are up on the site for free today. On the blue line, Oliver Ekman-Larsson, his price has come up a whopping, $300? So, I mean, Quinn Hughes is expected to miss this game again. So, fire up Oliver Ekman-Larsson again. Is there anybody on the Toronto side you want to use besides correlating?
Not really, but I'm evolving. I like Morgan Riley tonight at 5,900. Like I like when he's priced up in 6,700, 6,800. It's just he just doesn't do enough. But under 6K in this power play spot, I know Vancouver's penalty kill has been decent, but they've been giving up a ton of shots. Morgan Riley does shoot a bunch from the point on the power play, so. If they're going to give those bad shots, it's probably going to be Riley from the point instead of getting something in close and danger. So I kind of like Morgan Riley tonight. Oliver Ekman-Larsson's fine, 3,400. I just feel like he's going to be popular tonight. And I don't know. Popular Oliver Ekman-Larsson not getting the peripherals he did when he was in Arizona, more reliant on power play assists. It just doesn't it feels like I'm chasing points with Oliver Ekman-Larsson.
Yeah, I see what you're saying. I think you can fade him in GPPs for sure because he is going to carry a lot of ownership. I think it's just for the cash game players out there, it's a little bit more of a question. We have partnered with Yahoo Fantasy this NHL season to bring you some great offers. Check out our exclusive limited time offer, which gets you 1 free month of Awesemo Plus Platinum. To qualify, you need to be new to Yahoo, sign up for an account via the link below, deposit and play. That's it. Yahoo will send us your name after you played in your first paid contest, and we will reach out via email with your coupon. If you'd like to speed up the process of getting access, email support@awesemo.com. We'll get you set up right away. You can also claim a free $10 of site credit by clicking the link in the video description below, and that can be used to enter any Yahoo contest, including tonight's NHL $2,000 baller and the $1 million baller for the Super Bowl tomorrow. We also have a free roll running for the big game on Yahoo, with first place getting $1,000 and a year of Awesemo Plus Platinum. You can find the link to that contest in the description below, and make sure to use our DFS tools and projections designed specifically for Yahoo to give yourself the best shot at winning big. All right, we got 3 games left. Let's just bury ourselves through these games. Chicago 2.5 implied goal total. Going into St. Louis, the St. Louis Blues have a 3.4 implied goal total. St. Louis got embarrassed in their last game at home to New Jersey, 7-4. one of the weirder games of the NHL season. That led to St. Louis shaking up their lines a bit. They moved Pavel Buchnevich down to the second line with Robert Thomas and Vladimir Tarasenko and pushed Jordan Kyrou back up to the top line with Ryan O'Reilly and Braden Shen. This looks like it should be a lopsided game, but we were talking a lot about the Blues in our Discord chat this morning, and I think there's at least one line to like here tonight, but maybe this team isn't as good as we thought they might be.
Yeah. It's like, I want to play Buchnevich, Thomas, Tarasenko tonight. Like, I like them as a line. There's a couple reasons why I'm kind of iffy on it. The power play correlation isn't great, and I wish it was better because this is a good power play spot. But they're going to see a fair bit of that Doc, DeBrincat, Hagel line. And I know it's a small sample. It's like 43 minutes. But that Doc, DeBrincat, Hagel line are, controlling 55% of the shot share. They're generating a bunch, and they're not giving up anything. 4 high danger chances against per 61.5 expected goals against. Maybe that's smoke and mirrors because it is the Blackhawks. But that iteration has played very well together. They're going to see a bunch of Tarasenko, Thomas, Buchnevich. If you want to play that Blues line, that's fine. They have a big total. Tarasenko's on the top power play. Thomas and Buchnevich are on the second power play. I really, how I feel about Buchnevich. If he was on the Rangers right now, they'd be good. But it is what it is. I still think you can go to that St. Louis second line. You want to go to Ryan O'Reilly. It just doesn't do anything for me. But again, O'Reilly, Shen on the top power play unit. You want to throw Tarasenko in there for a power play stack. That's fine. I just don't like their power play units. I just wish they would clean them up a little bit better for even strength. I'm just not super high on the Blues. If you want to one-off somebody, I think David Perron at 4,100 on that third line makes some sense. I'm just not super enthusiastic about playing the Blues tonight. On the Blackhawks side, I think if I'm going to go to a line, it would be that DeBrincat, Doc, Hagel line. It just, Strome, Kane, Kubalik, going to see O'Reilly. And yeah, maybe it's not as great with Shannon Kyrou there as it is with Perron. But Ryan O'Reilly, man, he plays at such a slow pace at 5-on-5 that I don't know. I'd rather just go to a line in a bit of a better matchup that has been generating a bunch with DeBrincat and Hagel. And DeBrincat has had a great season. He's still moderately priced at 5,500. So I think he can play some Chicago too here again. You want to leave off Doc, that's fine. Hawks 2, maybe some St. Louis 2. I'm not super enthusiastic about either side in this game.
It's Ryan O'Reilly I want to talk about because he was the guy I talked about a lot in our Discord this morning. From 2016 through 2020, that's a span of 4 seasons, he was in the 96th percentile of shot assists in the league. That's passes leading to shots. It's one of those playmaking metrics we look at to see who can help create goals, and 96th percentile obviously is just super elite. He did that over 4 seasons. So far this year, he's the 5th best on his own team. It's just a cataclysmic drop-off. And if you look at his play driving numbers, just aside from that, whether it's over at Evolving Hockey or Hockey Biz, wherever, they've fallen off offensively, have fallen off considerably. So I don't know what's going on with Ryan O'Reilly. This isn't a case where he's just getting unlucky with shooting percentages or something like that. They're playing poorly at 5-on-5 on offense. So, and I brought up Braden Shen in our Discord. He's playing worse than Ryan O'Reilly. So yeah,
it's just a mess. That top line is bad. It's flat out bad.
I can see wanting to play the top line because they're not super expensive and, they'll get the power play minutes against a bad bad penalty kill. But honestly, I'm not playing that St. Louis top line. The St. Louis second line is what stuck out way more to me. This second line has been very good this year. I wrote about Pavel Buchnevich in the Power Plays article. This line is generating 3.1 expected goals and 4.5 actual goals per 60 minutes on the season. This has been St. Louis's arguably their best offensive line all year. I don't know why they broke them up, but now they're back together. So St. Louis 2, is very much in play. I think you can leave off Tarasenko on that stack. And I'm going to say, and this is why, is because St. Louis has been starting to split their power play units, like the time at least. So
I
like,
hate their power play units too. Like,
I
just
know,
load up one.
but at least they're going 50-50. So Falk and Buchnevich and Thomas are on the second unit, and they're generating like 9 expected goals per 60 minutes on the power play together this year. The second unit has been by far better than the top unit. It's been the case all season long. So, you know, if you don't want to pay up for a super expensive Tarasenko, I think you can two-man Thomas Buchnevich, especially where Thomas is down at 4K now, not at 5,500 or whatever it was. I think you can do that, throw in some Justin Falk and be on your way. So St. Louis 2, maybe some secondary power play from the Blues. On the Chicago side, I think it's the top line I would go into. Like, honestly, I just don't have any faith in that Shen, O'Reilly, Kyrou line of being good defensively, even with O'Reilly having good defensive metrics this year. So I think Strome and Kane, at least as a two-man, are definitely in play for me here in this game. On the blue line, there's no one that's really sticking out to me basically across the board. Like Jake McCabe, I guess, under 3K for Chicago might be fine. I think Justin Falk, 4,200 is my favorite defenseman in this game, actually. You know, running the power play, he can shoot the puck, he can score. Don't mind Falk at 4,200. Any other defenseman here?
We'll say Falk at 4,200 is fine. When Falk was like 6,500 on the top power play on Carolina instead of Dougie Hamilton, that was the most tilting thing ever. But Justin Falk, 4,200 is fine here tonight. On the Blackhawks side, yeah, I agree with you, Jake McCabe, 2,900. If you're, you know, you want to correlate with Seth Jones, I think that's fine. But personally, I'd rather find the extra 500 to go up to Yossi.
Yeah, I agree with you. Let's get to this next game. Carolina, 3.1 implied goal total going into Minnesota. The Minnesota Wild have a 3.0 implied goal total. I'll say this one thing. I don't play over on FanDuel, so I don't usually check the pricing unless I have to write about it. And today I had to write about it. Sebastian Aho is like $600 less expensive than Austin Matthews over on FanDuel, and I don't get the pricing on either of them, really. Like, I don't get why they're so close together. Should Matthews be $2,000 more expensive? Should Aho be $2,000 cheaper? Whatever it is. I just had to laugh at that pricing. I think there's stuff to like on both sides here, and Vegas kind of agrees, seeing both teams have a 3+ total. What do you like, Josh?
Yeah, Marcus Foligno is suspended, right?
That's right.
Yeah, so, you know, that checking line, they'll still have Joel Eriksson and Greenway. I would imagine they'll have who did they put there last time? Like,
probably Duhaime, I think.
Duhaime, yeah. I mean, that's still fine. Like, they're going to be glued to Aho, Teravainen, and Netchus tonight. I still do like Teravainen and Aho as the two-man, just because despite getting that matchup, the Wild have an awful penalty kill, and they've been taking a fair bit of penalties recently. But I think I'd rather go to the Svechnikov-Trocheck line. They'll probably see a fair bit of the Fiala-Gaudreau-Boldy line, which, again, isn't a great matchup because that line has been very good defensively as well. But that Trocheck and Svechnikov together, they have been crazy high event. They've been generating a ton. They've also been giving up a ton. So I do like Carolina too. And on the flip side, that makes me do like the Fiala-Gaudreau-Boldy line. I think, you know, you want to leave off Freddie Gaudreau, I guess that's fine. I think you can go Boldy, Fiala, two-man. You can do that. You were also telling us in Discord the Wild home and road splits. Like, they are unbelievably better at home. Like, it's a stark difference. It's like 3.5 expected goals all the way down to 2.2 on the road, something like that. Maybe not that stark, but
it's a full expected goal down.
Yeah. And, you know, they'll probably see a fair bit of that third line, which, you know, is still pretty good from Carolina. Stahl, Niederreiter, Fost, but like, it's not going to be enough for me to say like, yeah, I'm going to fade Minnesota 1 on a 5-gamer. So yeah, Minnesota 1 definitely in play. I think both second lines are my favorite on these teams, Svechnikov, Trocheck, and Fiala-Boldy. You want to power play stack the Canes. I think that's an interesting way to get different in GVPs tonight. Like, it's a 6 over under, and I have I feel like this game is going to go over. So, especially with those second lines, Trocheck, Svechnikov, very high event offensively, very high event defensively. So definitely like getting some Fiala Boldy in there. Minnesota 1, Carolina power play.
Yeah, Minnesota 1. Yeah, they are much better at home. That is one thing that's very important here. It's a full expected goal higher. It's a full actual goal higher. Like, they're not just generating more, they're actually scoring more at home than on the road. I mean, I think part of it is the matchups, right? When Minnesota's at home, they send that top line out often against the bottom six. So, playing against the bottom six at home versus shutdown lines on the road will make a difference. So, Minnesota 1 absolutely in play here for me today. I wanted to use Minnesota 3. I wanted to use that shutdown line going into Sebastian Aho, but with Marcus Foligno off there, like, I'm not sure I want to use Brandon Duhaime. I think an Eriksson Ek Greenway 2-man is just fine as well, but I kind of moved off of them when I remember that Foligno was suspended and moved to Minnesota 2. Minnesota 2 has just been really, really good offensively. 3.2 expected goals per 60 minutes, 67 shot attempts per 60 minutes. Just very good offensively. And as you mentioned, Carolina 2 has been, let's say, giving it up back and forth, both offensively and
3-on-3 hockey out there.
Yeah, pretty much. So I think both second lines actually are kind of in play for that reason. But it's the Minnesota second line that I do like more. On the Carolina side, I think I would probably go to the top line. If Marcus Foligno's out, like, Brandon Duhaime's a clear step down from him. Let's be very clear about that. I think Eriksson Ek and Greenway can still do the job, but this is still a game of very random things happening, and we'll see where the top stack come in. If we get good leverage on Carolina 1, they're at least going to be in consideration for me. So Carolina 1, Minnesota 2, especially for me. Wrote up Joel Eriksson Ek in the Power Plays article. I think he makes a reasonable one-off here tonight. He gets that power play time. As mentioned, he'll probably play more minutes because he's at home, gets that shutdown role. So don't mind Eriksson Ek as a one-off. Let's get to the blue line here. Is there anybody that sticks out on the blue line? I'll mention Brett Pesce. He's probably going to be in my Power Plays article that's going to be posted over on Awesemo.com. He's 3,200 on DraftKings, but he's 5,800 on FanDuel. So might be site dependent where you use Brett Pesce. Anybody else?
Yeah, I like Brett Pesce on DK. I think Brady Shea is cheaper on FanDuel. I think he'd be the punt. Tony D, if you're correlating. Slavin's fine. I think I'd still rather just play Pesce. On the Minnesota side, if you want to correlate, I think, power play with Spurgeon. One off, I think I would go to Brodin or Goligoski. I think Dumba's back, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, he's 3,800. So that's an interesting price for him. I may wait a game, but I think he's an interesting decision in GPPs.
Yeah, I would probably rather play him than, Nate Schmidt at 4,100 or, Matthias Ekholm at 3,500. I kind of like him at that range. All right, let's move this along. We have an Awesemo Hall of Fame here at Awesemo.com, where we like to celebrate not just our people, but our subscribers winning. If you'd like to jump into the Awesemo Hall of Fame and win a free month of Awesemo Plus Platinum, this is how you do it. You download the Awesemo avatar from awesemo.com/avatar. You place in the top 3 of a contest with at least 5,000 contestants. Then you tweet those wins to the Awesemo Hoff account. You do all that, you can win a free month of Awesemo Plus Platinum, but you can only win 1 free month per year. We have had some fairly significant winners. You see A. Anderson 13 taking down the NBA 400K fadeaway for $100,000. That is a huge hit. T.O. Deck taking down first and second in the 50K NBA Sunday shot. You'll see Mr. B14 taking down this 3 max for NBA. Just for CBJ stuff, coming into some NHL work here, took down the NHL breakaway for $100. And then a couple nights ago, we had a takedown over on FanDuel as well. Looked like it was in the 444. Calgary 2 for first place for $3,000. So if you want to get into the Awesemo Hall of Fame, Just make sure you have the Awesemo avatar as your avatar, whether on DraftKings or FanDuel. Make sure you finish in the top 3 of a contest with at least 5,000 contestants, and then just tweet those wins to the Awesemo Hoff account. Coming up later, we have the NFL Strategy Show coming up in about 35 minutes from now, 12:30 Eastern. One more game left on the season, so get your NFL fix in. That is with Greg and Neil. And then we have our MMA Live Before Lock with Floyd and Rogers coming up at 4 o'clock Eastern. And that is followed by your NBA double dose of your deeper dive and Live Before Lock at 5 o'clock Eastern. All right, this is our last game, Josh. New York Islanders 2.3 implied goal total. They're going into Calgary. The Calgary Flames have a 3.2 implied goal total. The Islanders played last night. Sorokin started. They lost 3-1, I think. So I assume it'll be Semyon Varlamov in net for the Islanders here tonight. They also changed up their lines a little bit. They moved Anthony Beauvillier back to the second line and put Ross Johnston down on the fourth line. That puts Nelson Bailey and Beauvillier back together. That was a line that was very good for them last year, but has been very bad for them this year. I don't know if I'm going to get much. I was wanting to get some Islanders last night. Not sure if I'm going to get there tonight. I think there's certainly a lot to like about Calgary. What do you think?
Yeah, I'm probably going to be out on the Islanders tonight. If I was MMEing, maybe I'd get to some in 20 to 150. This is just a brutal matchup. Are the Flames a juggernaut? Like,
they could be.
I'm maybe a little bit hyperbole there, but maybe I'll go check out the odds for a Panthers Flames Stanley Cup and throw a couple shekels down on that matchup. But man, that Calgary top line has been ridiculous. The Calgary second line has been equally, if not more, ridiculous. I do love the Calgary top line tonight. They're fully correlated. They haven't slowed down at all this season. Like, it's just crazy how good they've been. They're going to get depth matchups of, the Islanders tonight, whether it's JG Pajot or, the fourth line. The Islanders just aren't great defensively. I do love Calgary one tonight. That Calgary second line getting Barzal, Lee, Clutterbuck, that's not going to scare me away from playing Ebred, Backlund, and Coleman. Like, Mangiapane is going to win the Cy Young this year if he keeps going. Like, he's in the Cy Young race with DeBrincat and Chris Kreider, but I think Mangiapane has better Cy Young numbers. He's been so, like, their prices don't move. They're under 10K tonight on DraftKings. Like, why? Yeah, they play only 15 minutes a night, but they just absolutely nuke whoever they're playing. So yeah, I really love Calgary 2 as a filler if you want to spend up Calgary 1. Not the best power play spot for Calgary. So, I see Sean Monahan, 2,700 power play 1. If you want to, include him as a one-off or in a power play stack, that's fine. I'd rather just 5-on-5 stack. On the Islanders side, I don't know if I'm going to get to anything. Like, maybe I'll take it. Like, if I was making 20 lineups, maybe I'd take a stab on Beauvillier, Nelson Bailey. I know they've been awful this year, but they're super cheap and they had good numbers last year. So maybe they throw it back to last year tonight. But, I'm not going to go all in or anything. I'd take a, 1 or 2 lineup stab in MMA.
Yeah, it's the line matching I want to mention first, because Calgary has kind of changed their line matching a little bit of late, and they're matching top 6 against top 6, but they're sending out the second line against the top line. So you'll see Backlund and Mangiapane and them going out against the Islanders top line here tonight. And then Calgary 1 will actually go out against the Islanders second line a fair bit. And I wanted to note that because of how bad that Islanders second line has been this year. 46% shot share, 42% of the scoring chances. That is awful. And yeah, like, this team had a bad start to the season. It was like a 13-game road trip or something like that took them right into the middle of November. And then they had that huge COVID breakout at the end of November, early December. So, there's a lot of turmoil here, but it's not like they've started playing better of late. Even the top line is getting worse. So I really, really, really like the Calgary top line here tonight. I really, really, really like the Calgary second line here tonight. Those 2 lines are 2 of my favorite lines on this entire slate, actually. So we'll see where ownership comes in. It depends what you want to do with the rest of your lineup. If you have a main stack you like, use Calgary 2 as a filler. If you have a filler you like, use Calgary 1 as your main stack. So I think there's reasons to play both of the top two lines. On the Islanders side, the only thing I'm interested is Oliver Wahlstrom. And it's because Calgary's elite defensively at 5-on-5, but their penalty kill is like closer to average. And like average isn't bad, but it seems like the one place he might be able to take a little bit of advantage of them. And Wahlstrom just shoots from everywhere on the power play. It's actually pretty wild. So I think Wahlstrom might make sense as a one-off here tonight, but that's about it for me on the Islanders side. Calgary 1 and Calgary 2. On the blue line, nobody really sticking out for me. I think Oliver Shillington's fine at 3,700. I'll always play him at that price. Anybody else?
Shillington, Hannafin, Tanev, usual suspects for me. If you want to correlate with Rasmus Anderson, I don't think you have to tonight. This isn't the best power play spot. On the Islanders side, I think Wahlstrom, Dobson, two-man could be a low-owned spicy meatball tonight. I don't know if I'm going to get there. I maybe punt with Pellick or Mayfield, but nothing truly exciting.
Yeah, there isn't a lot exciting in that game. I agree. All right, we got to get out of here. As I mentioned, it is the NFL strategy show for tournaments, GPP strategy, coming up in about 30 minutes. Before we get out of here, Josh, I'm going to ask you for your hat trick picks and your goalies. My hat trick pick for tonight is one, Pavel Buchnevich. My goalies are Cam Talbot, Semyon Varlamov, if you want to get real spicy. And I don't mind going right back to Connor Hellebuck if he starts here tonight. Who you like?
I like those guys. I'll add on Markstrom. I think Freddie is an interesting pick as well. Is Jay Willie here? I hope he's here. My hat trick pick, Mitch Marner.
Wow. The spiciness here on a Saturday. Mitchell Marner, Pavel Buchnevich are your hat trick picks. All right, we got to get out of here. Stick around for that NFL show coming up in about 30 minutes. For producer Tyler, for Mr. Harris, I'm Michael Clifford saying good luck tonight, and we'll see you on Monday.